Welcome, Climate Viewers. My name is Jim Lee from ClimateViewer News at climateviewer.com. It's October 29th, 2017. I hope you're having a great Halloween. And today we're going to talk about some scary stuff, HAARP and the sky heaters and the worldwide map of them that I've created. It is available at climateviewer.org. And if you go there, it is a completely free, open source 3D map of the world. You can see we're going to go through some of these. Now, I started creating this back in 2011. It's going to be a wild ride. I'm going to take you through some of that history. We will also be talking about my other page over here at climateviewer.com/HAARP, and that is HAARP and the Sky Heaters. We will then talk about how all of those are on boats. That's right, HAARP on a boat. Ionospheric heaters go mobile. We will also talk about how they're on satellites and Jeeps and drilling rigs and space-based platforms. Ionospheric heaters everywhere. So we're going to go through that today. And finally, I will be going to the 21st conference on planned and inadvertent weather modification in January. I hope to bring some of this research directly to the scientists who are doing it and say enough's enough. And with your support, I'll be able to do that. That is available at gofundme.com/weather-control-conference-2018. Links in the details. So guys, please support me on that. And away we go. So climateviewer.org and this map. A good friend of mine, Alana Freeland, is writing a new book about the space fence. And in it, she's actually included this map. So pretty freaking awesome. Shout out to my girl, Alana. Red hot fire stuff. And currently I'm on the map. I've already brought everything up pretty much that we're going to talk about. I might bring up a couple extra layers, but this is going to be a lengthy video. Buckle your seatbelts. I've been meaning to make this forever to really clear the air about a lot of the misconceptions about these things. The reason I mapped this out, I got Google Earth and I started just putting dots on the ground because there's a lot of confusion about a lot of these instruments and what they do. My God, what is that yellow creepy looking thing there? It's called LOFAR. Never mind. I'm just being facetious. These facilities all over the world are, talked about a lot online, on websites like Above Top Secret and Infowars.com, Godlike Productions, forums and, lots of people, lots of arguments. I don't think everybody really understands what they do. So me personally, I started putting them in Google Earth and I tried to categorize them. Because for me to understand the purpose and where the dots fit, we're always talking about connecting dots. Well, what better place to connect dots than on a map, right? Right. Okay. So the idea is simple. I put a dot on a map. I do a little bit of HTML. I put a photo in there and that's a laser beam. Bam. That sounds fun. This is almost like a video game. So several years later, I've got a lot of dots and it's been quite a while since I've added dots to my map. And I think it's high time that I start doing that again. So in the next year, I hope to be releasing a Android and iPhone app version of ClimateViewer 3D, which will have all these dots and a hell of a lot more coming up soon. So let's go through some of these dots and why they're all up here. It looks really confusing, right? Over here on the sidebar of climateviewer.org is the layer sidebar menu. If you click that, it's going to look like this. And at the top says ClimateViewer 3D. You can search for places and fly to them here. If you click this about button, it'll tell you more about the the project that I'm doing here. Instructions are right here flashing. Updates, open source, my GitHub, yada yada. These three categories where they say live have actual live data in them. If you click on satellites and you click on corrected reflectance, MODIS, Terra, True Color, you will see the same satellite that you see at the NASA World Viewer, Whirlwind, whatever the hell it's called. Same details, same info. I'm pulling it straight from NASA Live. Grab the little date chooser here, click it, and it will change the layers. Anyway, we're not doing live today. Just wanted to let you guys know that's up there. So I'm going to take that off real quick. Let me turn that guy off. Boom. And to turn them off and on, you just click them. So down here in the electromagnetic facilities section is where we're going to do our dirt today. And we're going to start with ionospheric heaters. Now, next to each one of these entries is a little tree icon. And if you click on that tree icon, it'll show you the markers in there. And this is kind of like how Google Earth works. You can make a group of map markers. It's called a KML file. And that's how I originally started out. I was, just making big KML files, lasers, fascinating stuff. And it's morphed into all this anyway. You click the little tree here and it'll show you all of the different ones. So I'm going to go through them one at a time. And I've got a special one here for HAARP, because HAARP is, pretty cool looking facility and with a lot of stuff to it. So let's fly there. And I'm going to click on that and it's going to fly me there. So I abhor this flat map version here. So I'm going to click this and I'm going to go back to the globe. Boom. That's so cool. All right, we're going to come up here to HAARP again. There is the HAARP, High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program in Gakona, Alaska. You can actually see there's the driveway to it. And let me get this thing out of my way. So in the center of HAARP is something called the IRI, or the Ionospheric Research Instrument. It has 180 cross dipole antennas. They're 72 feet tall. They operate on 2.8 to 10 megahertz at 3.6 million watts. It's one of the strongest radio transmitters in the world. It is currently the most powerful ionospheric heater in the world, and it's about to be surpassed by another ionospheric heater we'll go to next. But really cool stuff here that I'm a glutton for the details, so I wanted to know what these things over here on the pad are. Well, that turns out that's called the MUIR, or modular UHF ionospheric radar. So at the HAARP facility are multiple instruments. This is a tiny version of what HAARP is. As you can see, these are the same thing as the antennas. It's a field of antennas. They're just much smaller. So what they've actually done is they've micronized, or if you can find a better word for that, they've shrunk HAARP. And now they can put them on a little table, and they have them, they're called AMISR. Anyway, Advanced Modular Incoherent Scatter Radar for the researchers out there. Anyway, click through these things. Real cool stuff. Aircraft alert radar tells the planes don't fly here. HAARP will blow you up. Anyway, there's an optical pad up here, and this is where they actually observe what HAARP does. So if you look here, there's this building, and it's got a little telescope in it. There's some bubbles in the top of this thing. Obviously, it has heat because it's cold, so they sit inside the little trailer, and they look out the bubbles in the ceiling to watch the pretty lights overhead when they're making artificial aurora. Pretty crazy stuff. So that's the HAARP facility. I could go through that for another hour, but I won't. So let's go to the next one. Tromsø, the IceCat 3D, is over here in Norway, and you can click on these and they will fly you to it. Let me close up HAARP here, and you can see there's all the different things like the power plants and all that. This Tromsø guy is currently at like 1.2 megawatt, I believe it is. Let's see, is that it? Yes, 1.2 million watts. Glad my memory has not failed me. And there's actually 3 separate antenna arrays there. And you can see that in this photo right here. Let me go here, open link in new tab, and boom, there you go. So this is back when I had Google Earth. Google Earth shut down my website quite a while ago. And so some of my photos, you're going to see Google Earth actually in the bottom corner, because ClimateViewer 3D used to be on Google Earth. And I had an overlay image like that. That's what it looks like. Pretty cool. So all of these are also linked up over here on climateviewer.com/HAARP. At the bottom of the page, you'll see most of my essential reading articles, and how HAARP really works. We'll actually take you through these exact same facilities, the major ones, and let you see these photos of each of the instruments, like Sura, like Tromsø that we just saw, including videos about IceCat 3D. So that's also available over at climateviewer.com/HAARP. Back to the map. So this instrument is pretty fascinating. It's located near that Norway spiral that was seen over Obama's acceptance of the Nobel Peace Prize. Coincidence. So there was a sounding rocket, the Russians say, caused that spiral glow, and it happened to also coincide very close to this facility. And if anybody's followed my research, ionospheric heaters and rocket ranges tend to work hand in hand. So Tromsø is located near the Andoya rocket range, which is right over here. And I'll show you that now. I think this is it. Alomar Observatory, and this should be Andoya. There you go. Andoya rocket range. There it is. Boom. That's a beautiful photo. So these rocket ranges work in association with ionospheric heaters, and most people don't know that. So this is one of the things I wanted to clarify with the map today. There's the Andoya, works with Tromsø. Over in Alaska, it's the Poker Flat facility. There's HAARP right there. And up here is Poker Flats. Is that it? Poker Flats. And this is the MSD radar they have. But regardless, this is where Poker Flats is. Let me go down there. I'm just hitting that little zoom button to take me to this riometer. I'm going to zoom. Oh, new photographs. Dang, that's high resolution. They got a new photo of the riometer at Poker Flat. Really cool. So this is the Poker Flat rocket range. They actually fire rockets from here. And they've actually got a liquid disc laser mirror thing here. It's really amazing. A liquid mercury reflecting mirror. Crazy stuff. But anyway, Poker Flat rocket range is the rocket range for HAARP, and then the other facilities have them as well. We'll continue to go through those. So High Pass is the predecessor to HAARP. It's also up in Alaska. It has been closed and torn down. You can see that there's a field of rubble there now. And before High Pass was in Alaska, it was actually in Plattsville, Ohio. So apparently there's some new facility being built at Plattsville, Ohio. Gonna have to look into that. But this was High Pass. This is a fascinating image, and I want to show you this, guys, because it really sums up what's going on here. This is the crappiest version. I can't find a better version, but it sums it all up. Rocket, phased array radar. Phased array radar is the ionospheric heater. Rocket is the rocket range. Just so you guys know, I'm not making this shit up. Everything that I'm telling you is only stuff that I backed up, that I can back up with something I've referenced. Radar, that's like that MUIR that I just showed you next to HAARP, or the AMISR, or the one at Resolute Bay. And I can show you those as well. Probably will. And then finally up here at the top, it says satellite, and we touched on that earlier. Ionospheric modification from space platforms is a thing. Topside sounders as mobile ionospheric heaters. There's evidence that satellite-borne RF sounders can act as mobile ionospheric heaters. So this is some crazy. Okay, let's go back to the map. So this is a diagram of the High Pass facility, and obviously an actual photo is right here. I'll bring that up to full screen, and you can see it looks like a big plus sign on a pole. There was one really large one, a big ring, and a bunch of wires running down to the other ones. There you go. So High Pass is dead. Let's close it and put it back in the graveyard, and we'll go to the next one. So Sura is over in Russia, and Sura has been operating longer than any of the rest as far as I'm concerned. It says the Sura facility was commissioned in 1981. So this is around the same time as, you know, the Chernobyl woodpecker. The Russians were accused of using the Duga 3 radar, which is known as the woodpecker. They had it attached to the Chernobyl nuclear site, and most people don't know this. And I'm sorry, I had a little accent there. So they didn't know that the woodpecker's like right next to the Chernobyl site. I could show that right now. Boy, I'm going to get sidetracked. God, it's too good not to. So I'm going to go, and I'm just, because I'm having a moment, on ClimateViewer.org, and it's a fun thing to do. I'm going to come down here to nuclear, and I'm going to click on, let's say, 10 most radioactive places on Earth is always fun. And we will zoom out and check out Chernobyl real quick, which is over here. And you can see this is the Chernobyl meltdown. Okay. And let me turn on other reactors. I think it's a yellow one, so it'd be that one. Yeah, no. Why am I not finding it? Uno momento. While I'm gonna turn on all the nukes same time. Boom, nuke, turn it on, nuke, turn it on, closing that, gas cooled, turn them on. Why not? All the nukes. All right, so let me get rid of this 10 most radioactive because now it's hurting my eyeballs. There's the darn thing. Okay, so here's the Duga 3 woodpecker radar that everybody talks about. The Russian woodpecker is known as the Duga 3. It is slammed right next to Chernobyl. Did you know that? I didn't know that until I built ClimateViewer.org, started mapping crap out, and found out that they are literally that close together. Is it a coincidence that we accuse the Russians of modifying the weather over America using this device, which looks just like HAARP, except it's standing up vertically? It was attached to a nuclear reactor that blew up. Conspiracy? I don't think so. That is probably more than a coincidence. Anyway, if you don't know, this is what's left of the Chernobyl thing after it blew up and they had to put a big iron dome on top of it. It's still leaking out today and nobody can go there. So this is I've classified this in a different classification. Now, this one probably should be moved to the Sky Heater folder, but currently it is under Missile Defense Radar because of the aggravation level of some people. So that is at the top of electromagnetic facilities, missile defense radars, and then you just go down to nuclear, and you can see those nuclear reactors are now up on the map as well. They're in all the triangles. My God, the map's getting crowded. Back to Sura. So Sura is nearby. That it? No, it's a big red one right there. So that's the Sura facility. It's located in Nizhny Novgorod Oblast, Russia. There you go. Boy, don't ever make me pronounce a foreign name with my southern accent. Anyway, here's a good close-up of the Sura facility. It's very old school. Obviously, it was built in 1981. It is still very powerful. Do not underestimate this facility. It's basically got a series of poles and a big chain link fence draped over top of the whole thing. Pretty crazy. All right, so let's go back to the map. Ionospheric heaters. I'm just going to expand that back out, and we were on Sura, so let's go to the next one. Most people do not know about this one. I still barely ever hear anybody mention it, but Arecibo. That's right. The big dome that you saw in the, I think, one of the 007 movies where they have the fight on the catwalk over the huge dome. Everybody knows this Arecibo listening 305-meter dome. But what most people don't know is the Arecibo Observatory Enhanced High Frequency Ionospheric Heater facility has now been rebuilt. There used to be an ionospheric heater at Arecibo. It got destroyed by a hurricane. They finally rebuilt it, and this is what it looks like. I'm going to bring that image up. And what you're going to see is this little blue dot down here with this little yellow helmet is a guy. And there's the big antenna, which is sitting at the bottom of the dome. Let me zoom in on that over here. Let me scroll down, and you can see that they've got 5 or 6 of these. I think it's 5. 5 antennas down here at the bottom of the dome, and then they've hung a chain link fence over top of it. And that's called a cast grain antenna. So this metal chain link fence helps them focus their, transmissions on the heavens above while they cook the sky overhead. Pretty fascinating. A lot of hurricanes travel right over this facility. Little known fact. So most people don't realize it right here in Hurricane Alley in Puerto Rico. We've heard a lot about Puerto Rico recently. In Puerto Rico is a brand new ionospheric heater. It's the newest on the block, just got built. So moving to the next one, we have the NMRF, the National MST Radar Facility, and this one is in India, Andhra Pradesh, India. And you can see here's a little guy standing next to the little like telephone antennas, or I mean TV antennas, excuse me, like the old TV antennas you'd put on top of your, set top or whatever. So this is a crazy photo. This is probably the craziest photo I've seen in a while. My God, quit zooming my other window when I do that. That's hella annoying. Over here, look at that. The field, when it's turned on, glows green. GTFO. That's crazy. So these are like science fact, not science fiction. I mean, this is modern day Star Wars, Star Trek, and I find it fascinating. I'm sure you will as well. The problem with that is most people don't know about this stuff. It's still relatively new technology, and even the scientific community, people are scratching their heads. So that's why I'm going to the 21st conference on planet inverted weather modification this January. And I want to deliver a lot of this information and talk about how we really don't approve of ionospheric modification, magnetosonic emissions, SAW waves, Whistler waves, shear Alvin waves. That's what the SAW wave is. Wow. Anyway, they're shooting electromagnetic missiles into space with high-powered microwaves to cook the ionosphere, to shoot radiation out of the sky down to the Earth and make artificial aurora. An artificial aurora borealis that they can turn on at any moment by, bombarding the sky with electromagnetic radiation. Just recently, this whole topic, kind of got blown wide open. I was pretty proud about it. Got a mention on MIT University, where they actually pretty much regurgitated word for word my my HAARP page. And this is important because guys like William Cohen, and most people don't know this, but I had seen this quote for about 2 years on many websites from Secretary of Defense William Cohen, but I wanted to make it real. So I went and I found this high resolution photo of him and I made this meme. And at first it said, I think resonate. It had no URL on it. Then I put resonated.com on it. Then I changed it from weather warfare to geophysical warfare. But regardless, this meme has been in every documentary website I ever seen. And it's another example of how just taking an idea like a quote and putting a face with it and putting it out on the internet, suddenly this thing is everywhere. And that's the kind of stuff I've been doing since 2012. Quote, if you have not heard it, others are engaging in an eco type of terrorism whereby they can alter the climate, set off earthquakes, volcanoes remotely through the use of electromagnetic waves. And this map is all about electromagnetic waves under electromagnetic facilities at ClimateViewer.org. This is the most accurate map on the internet, period. It's the internet's best kept secret because God knows I have tried. Lord help me get this thing out there somehow. And it's going to take you to get it out there because the censorship is hard, man. The struggle is real. All right, we're almost done with what I classify as an ionospheric heater. I'm going through these in graphic detail for a reason. I think that should be obvious. So Camarca, Peru has a super darn. This one's like right on the border for me, okay? Looks like an ionospheric heater, smells like an ionospheric heater, is actually more powerful than most of the ionospheric heaters on this list, including HAARP. It is 4.5 million watts. HAARP is 3.6 million watts. Just saying. So this, in my opinion, though it's called an incoherent scatter radar, it's not technically classified by the scientific community as a, ionospheric heater. Looks like one, smells like one, is a duck. That is crazy. It's a huge facility in the middle of a desert in Peru. Pretty amazing stuff. Got a rocket range nearby. Can't remember. Not going to go into it. And then finally, we're going to Japan. And this is my favorite looking ionospheric heater. I mean, I guess you can hate a thing and think it's pretty, you know. But this one's called the Shigaraki MU University or Observatory, excuse me, and it is in Shigaraki, Japan. It's a 1 megawatt, 46 megahertz. MU means middle or upper atmosphere. This one's like also right on the border, because technically there's only 5 ionospheric heaters. I included these for at the bottom because they're right on the border for me. They're high power, they look cool, and they definitely are right there at the border of what I mean. If somebody powers them up a little bit or changes a frequency or two, these are ionospheric heaters. Maybe I should kick them out of the list. But everything from Aracy, but the ones above the bottom 3 are definitely ionospheric heaters. The last 3, which are number 11, 12, and 13, they kind of ride the fence. And then finally, we're going to talk about IceCat 3D, the big dog. So we talked about Tromsø, the one up in Norway. They're upgrading it. It's going from 1.2 megawatt to possibly 100 gigawatts. And you can see right here, this V shape one right here. Here's the map. We're going to bring that up, open image up here, zoom that guy, and you can see distance between proposed IceCat 3D sites and the Tromsø site. Here's Tromsø. There's one, there's one, there's one. These all work as one big ionospheric heater. That's an ionospheric heater the size of a country. And it's going to be about 100 gigawatt, according to their projections. That is 100 billion watts. HAARP is 3.6 million watts, 3,600,000. This thing is 100 billion watts. Insanity on display. Gotta deal with that. Reset my zoom. All right. So we've covered all of the ionospheric heaters. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to browse through a couple of these things that are common misconceptions. The other section that you really want to look at is obviously SuperDARN, and SuperDARN stands for Super Dual Auroral Radar Network. Okay? And what these are is they work in pairs. Usually there's 2. That hence the word dual. Super Dual Auroral Radar Network. The SuperDARNs usually are more of a diagnosing the ionosphere than modifying, but I have not got clarification on that, so don't hold me to it. I think these possibly could be used for transmission purposes to modify. I just don't have the scientific backing to, really say that to you with a straight face. So we're going to say that these are listening stations, okay? That SuperDARNs listen to the modifications done by ionospheric heaters, okay? All right, so SuperDARNs are in yellow. We can see that there are quite a few of them around the world, whole bunch up here in Canada, and they look pretty cool. Let's see how many of these we have a photo for. No images up in Canada, I think I remember. There you go. So they look like this. This is your typical SuperDARN. Its tower, up at the top, it has a vertical, this is called a directional antenna. And it gets wider at one end, and then the wires get skinnier and skinnier and skinnier and skinnier. So that's what a SuperDARN looks like. Bunch of towers in a row, typically with a second row behind it. And I can show you what those look like simply by flying to the facility. If you just do this right here where it says focus camera up here, boom, it'll fly you to it. I'm gonna close that. Now we're there. Reset zoom and zoom out a little bit. What the crap happened? Did they move it? Where is it? Oh, they've removed the imagery. That's wrong. That's so wrong. They sub me out. They sub me out. All right, SuperDARN Tiger Bruni. There's these are like here's one. Oh my God, what just happened there? Go back. Did you see that, Kelly? What was that? Oh my God, who did it again? Anyway, I know my wife has been watching PewDiePie lately. I'm actually locked on this still, and I forgot. So you have to unlock that. So it's actually still focused on that thing, trying to do other stuff. That's no good. I'm gonna have to figure a way to fix that bug. I program it myself. See, now it's behaving properly. See this super darn? You can see it clear as day, just like the photo. Let's see if we got a photo to go with it. There we go. There's a photo to go with it. So that's the point of ClimateViewer 3D, is that I've got these things mapped out. I actually, and I know this may be hard to believe, I went and found all these in Google Earth. I mean, I spent 3 years building these maps, and it's been a while since I've made a new one. Well, not really. I just made one recently for weather modification. If you go to the bottom of the map and you look in the weather mod section, you'll see that I just created one for Sacramento. The Sacramento Municipal Utility District offers $1 million for cloud seeding 2017. And the story about how Charles Hatfield and the San Diego floods. That's my 2 most recent maps. Been a while. I finally broke the mold and got back into doing my maps because I have no time, guys. I have no time. Anyway, the super darns look pretty darn cool. Looks like an airplane almost, like big wing, little wing. And we have photos. Here's a big photo of that one. I think we can zoom that in some more here because it's pretty sharp, and you can see the little, looks like almost like rib bones on top of that platform there. Pretty crazy stuff. All right, back to the story. I told you this is going to be a long video because I want to do this one time so that for now on, henceforth, I can go, if you're talking about a radar and it's on a map, I got a video, that's the one. And I'm going to start adding stuff to this. Anyway, I'm not going to go through all these. They're really cool. Wallops Air Force Base, Wallops Rocket Range. Everybody probably heard the video of the chemtrails at Wallops where they're like, release the chemtrails from the sounding rocket experiments where they're doing lithium out over the Atlantic. This is on the east coast of the USA right here up in Maryland. Boom. And they have a super darn right there. So whenever they shoot the sounding rockets up, their little super darn right here in conjunction with the Haystack University's X-band radar, MIT, shout out to you. That's how they do their sounding rocket experiments over here, Wallops Island Rocket Range. And there's super darn. So let's get away from super darn. You can check all of that out. There will be details on that as well. Like you click here, layer details, and it'll tell you, here's the Wikipedia page, John Hopkins Applied Physics Lab, Virginia Tech super darn page, Cedar registration of instrumentation, all that. Click the I right there next to each layer. It'll tell you all about them. Created by Jim Lee, yours truly. Download the GeoJSON file because I converted it from Google Earth. Share this layer. These links will actually share just that layer. If you want to create a custom map and you show what's on the screen and turn on every layer you like, you click the share button here, and it'll give you a link that turns everything on that you currently have on and puts the screen where your screen is now. Whoa. You can even embed it on a website. So that's what I'm making here. That's why I made the map. So you guys can share this and go, hey, no, I'm talking about this facility right here, dude. I'm going to go down here to the ground and look at it. I'm talking about this thing. See these poles? Yes, I found that. Those little poles with the shadow right there, that's their super darn. That's the thing I'm talking about. Share. And it'll share it right here on this screen. Pretty epic. All right. So super darn done. We've done the ionospheric heaters, missile defense radars. We're going to do them probably last because they're the coolest. And I haven't even touched any of my tabs. So let's go to ELF, VLF. Now, we're going to skip over DigiSign. Let's not do it. I don't know. I didn't. Good point. My wife saves me from myself. By the way, I'm doing all of this because somebody left a comment in the last video where they were like, hey, what about, the freaking installations down in Australia? You didn't have those on your list of, ionospheric heaters. That's because they're not. They're actually NSA facilities. So I guess we should show those real quick just for the person who asked the question. So if you scroll down here and you go to government and surveillance, this is the #1 raging clue that Jim Lee is not a shill. Click on Five Eyes Stone Ghost Surveillance Network. And when you do that, you will see the Joint Defense Facility at Pine Gap. I'm going to fly to it now. This is one of those top secret facilities everybody says does everything. But in fact, this is not an ionospheric heater at all. This is not a weather modification space, whatever. This is a joint NSA, Australian Defense Forces, DTSO, all these, don't get me started. It's off topic is all I'm saying. And this is called the Joint Defense Facility at Pine Gap. I has photos, been there, done that. It is in the government surveillance system section because these golf balls are listening to satellite transmissions from everything in North Korea, New Zealand, like everybody. I mean, that basically this facility is in red right here. That's where we're at. DTSO Digisign right nearby. We'll talk about the Digisigns just briefly. And up here is the Humpty-Doo transmitting station. We'll go fly down to that real quick. Looks like this. It's another one of these golf ball stations out in the middle of nowhere. Used to be in a dinosaur cage, elephant cage. It's an old radar listening station back in Cold War times. Now it's just got a golf ball and listens to transmissions. And they've got other kind of little radars out here and listening stations. That's what these are. These are listening stations. So this is the NSA and the Five Eyes of the New World Order surveillance signals intelligence network called Stone Ghost. They have these facilities all over the world. The other ones in Australia that she mentioned is the Perth International Telecommunications Center, which is here. That is not a HAARP. That is a listening station as well. And you see that they have the satellite dishes also for listening and transmission. So not an ionospheric heater, but definitely has space-based transmission capabilities and listening. And then over here is the Australian Defense Satellite Communication Station. And it looks like that. So these get a lot of play on Facebook and YouTube videos from dudes who never did their homework. But in reality, I've been there, done that. It's all on this map. That's all I'm saying. Please share out climateviewer.org. It's got, it's like, I don't want to get sued for using somebody's slides, but say it's in there. But yeah, it's definitely in there. And once you pop, you can't stop, and all that other fun stuff. So yeah, those are all spy facilities. My goodness, that is a lot of dots on the map. Moving back up, here we were. So digisigns are the next one on the list. Digisigns are like Super Darn in that they listen to the ionosphere. These are called sounding radars. And what a digisign does is it's an ionosign, and it's an ionospheric sounder. It sends a signal out, ping, and then it listens for the pong. So the ping goes up, it hits the ionosphere, it comes back down, and the digisign or ionosign visualizes that so that they can map the ionosphere so that military and other organizations can predict where their signals are going to go when they send them up into the sky. This is why ionospheric heaters are even a thing, is because in order to extend the distance of the missile defense radars that we're going to talk about in a minute, they want the ionospheric heaters to be able to control the ionosphere. And the only way to tell if you're controlling the ionosphere is to dump chemicals in it, like barium and strontium and sulfur hexafluoride. That's right, I said barium and strontium. The number one thing everybody talks about on chemtrails, they dump it in space. See my video series on YouTube, Chemtrails in Space. They dump these chemicals in space so that they can put a tracer into an invisible medium, the invisible medium being the ionosphere or the magnetosphere, the Van Allen belts. They dump chemicals in that, and then they ping pong with these digisigns and super darns and all of these radars just so they can see what is the current shape of the ionosphere and density and all these things. And then they can make their predictions that if they're trying to catch Cuban drug runners in a boat off the coast of Florida, that they're over the horizon radar, which is supposed to monitor the ocean surface between Cuba and Florida, that it's going to land where they think it's going to land. So they're constantly monitoring the ionosphere. And if they have their way, and I'm sure they do, they're constantly modifying it as well. Now, of course, they sold the HAARP facility to the University of Alaska. So you're scratching your heads about why would they do that? That's because they have now put these on boats. Like I said earlier, HAARP on a boat, ionospheric heaters go mobile. So the military is currently using them on trucks and trailers. It is called the Mirage Microwave Ionosphere Reconfiguration Ground-Based Emitter. Mirage, link right there. They're putting them on satellites. They're putting them on boats, submarines, planes, and drilling rigs. Anywhere they can put them. Ionospheric heaters for everybody. Good Lord. So let me pull that out of there. Come over here real quick. And let me go. Just a brief moment while I pull up something that I had seen the other day. So I just want to briefly re-mention that all of this research that I'm showing you right now was just featured on MIT University. So I just want to have my moment in the sun. So purposeful anthropogenic climate alteration, RF ionospheric heater irrigants, e.g. HAARP, and a doctor named Rick Shankman from MIT basically shared my entire HAARP page, which is here, this page here, HAARP in the Sky Heaters at ClimateViewer.com. And he shared my research word for word. And at the end of that, and there's my research right there, all that's my stuff, research, word for word. At the end of it, he says, is there a chance that some scientific communities exist that are too reckless and arrogant for us to tolerate unchecked? And he's talking about ionospheric heaters. And he's likening it to the Project Westward Needle thing that happened back in the 60s when they launched 480 million dipole antennas into space to create an artificial ionosphere. I bring this up because we were talking about the military and the control of the ionosphere. And that's really what all this is about controlling the electrical shield that protects us from space. And they're constantly modifying it. So they tried to create an artificial ionosphere in 1963, MIT University. Oddly enough, the people who are currently hosting this article pooing on the current technology based on the technology they did back then. Those needles, some of them are still in space today. Most of them are in the North Pole and South Pole in the ice. And the antennas look like little pieces of wire about 1.5 inches, or let's say 5-6 centimeters. So tiny little pieces of wire, put them in space. And everybody hears about space garbage, space junk. They dump 480 million pieces of space junk. Most of them burned up on reentry, thank God. But hell, it was just an experiment, right? Well, today it's still just an experiment. There's no accountability. And this guy has killed it on MIT by sharing my research, seeing that it's the truth, and recognizing the problem. And he even goes on to say, this is a difficult article to write. And he's saying that because the scientific community is going to have to eat crow. You know, for us to be called conspiracy theorists, you know, some of us don't like that kind of talk. And me personally, I eat MFers for lunch who say that to me, because I got all the reference and work to back it up, as you can clearly see on the screen right here at ClimateViewer.org. With that being said, please send me with my MIT referenced HAARP education to the Weather Modification Conference 2018. It's at gofundme.com/weather-control-conference-2018. I'm going to go there and I'm going to take an Emmy award-winning videographer with me, and we're going to go ask some questions directly to the people who modify the weather. You can see all the details on that, as well as my presentation from Mr. G. Edward Griffin's Freedom Force International's 3rd Congress in Phoenix, Arizona, December 3rd, 2016, where I gave my presentation, Geoengineering, Weather Modification, and Weaponizing Nature, on how these institutions, these military groups, are weaponizing the world. They're using the atmosphere as a weapon, and they can no longer go unchecked. And my goal is to create a two-tiered system where we require transparency and verification. That right here. Transparency and verification. Sounds great. Links in the details right there. And the 21st Conference on Planned and Inadvertent Weather Modification will be held in January 9 through 11. I know I said 9/11. 2018, Austin Convention Center, Hilton, Austin, Texas. If you guys would like to join me there, I will be there. I will be recording, and it will be world breaking news. I can promise you that. So please support my efforts at GoFundMe. Links in the details. Links will be available on ClimateViewer.com. If I can stop making videos for 1 second and go update my website. So let me come back over here. So we were on DigiSigns. DigiSigns are all over the world. You can see they have the green icons here, and I've now crowded the map so much that you pretty much can't see a damn thing. So you can put too much information on the map at one time, but that's always fun. So these DigiSigns, maybe I should clear some of these. Let's get rid of the ones we've already done. I'm going to take the ionospheric heaters off. I'm going to take all those off. So we're going to clear the map out, and I'm going to go get rid of the nukes too. And let's leave the NSA. Why not? That's fine. Underwater cables. All right. Where were we at? Taking nuclear off. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Much less of a headache now. Oh my God, I put the underwater cables on, and that looks so cool. So those are the cables that the NSA are listening to go under the oceans. Moving all of that off too. All right. So we're back to a much cleaner canvas, and we still have the black ones, which are the missile defense radars, the yellow ones, which are the lasers, and some of these red ones, which are the ELF, VLF facilities, which look so damn cool. So let's get to that because I'm boring the hell out of everybody. I'm going to fly around randomly to some of these. Maybe I should just pick the ones that I know look cool right off the get, because this one looks hella boring. All right, so let's go and let me go to Harold Holt. Where's that guy at? I'll just fly them randomly while I go through these. So Loran C, why am I in this section? Gwen Stations, awesome network. Here we go. All right, so awesome is let's see if I got the acronym for that in the deets. Nope. So this is one out in the middle of nowhere, big, powerful antennas. These are usually just single antennas or groups of antennas like the one at Harold Holt. Let's go to NAA. Where is it at? I punch you in face. There it is. All right. So this is the one at Cutler Hammer. Or I said Cutler Hammer. That's a place near me anyway. Awesome network, VLF, NAA facility at Cutler, Maine. It looks like this. All right. So this is one of the biggest ones in the world. This is actually the competitor to HAARP for the talking to submarines to signal the doom apocalypse. Yep. Somebody in chat just said, look up Cutler, Maine. There's a VLF array. You can't make this up. There you go. Harold, appreciate you. Appreciate you. It's on the screen, dog. That dude's psychic. There's a delay between what I'm showing in the chat, so it's always kind of funny when I see that kind of stuff happen. Oh, cool. Well, Harold, send me some cool photos of it, man. I'll put them in the deets. All right, so yeah, this is what it looks like, and it's kind of creepy looking, you know, the stars and everything. But this is actually two transmission stations that are a bunch of wires. Okay, so the black lines are the wires. They go from the ground up to the air and back down to the ground in the middle, just so we're clear. And it looks like this on the thing. Come down here, you can see these antennas are pretty darn tall, and they've got wires running in between them. Connecting all of that together in those star shapes that we've seen. So if you're actually looking at it on the map, it's pretty hard to see them here. It's not so hard to see them down in Australia. So I'm just going to fly over there and show you this guy, because everybody talks about Harold Holt. And it's right here on the corner. I've seen this on every single website. You never seen it like this. So I went and I put my little antenna icon on each one of the poles so you can see where the poles are. And you can see the details right here. Come on, bring it up. And there's a photo of Harold Holt. Let's bring that up, and it looks like this. So big, tall antennas, long cable wires run in between these. These are VLF and ELF facilities. They transmit high-powered ELF and VLF signals themselves. HAARP, the ionospheric heater, transmits high-frequency signals to cook the sky to make ELF and VLF. Totally different. So Harold Holt is like brute force. It is 2 megawatt, 2 million watts at 14 to 28 kilohertz. And with that, they make VLF, okay? If you wanted to go lower into the ELF, then that's when you run into things like ZEBs. Now, ZEBs is a true ELF transmission station. This is some freaky crap right here. This is just like, and there's a horrible photo of it, but that's all you got. It's just, there's a shadow. I know I found it. That's it. And it's called ZEBs, okay? And ZEBs looks like this. Here's an actual photo of it. Is an 82 hertz frequency. Now, the reason this is important for people who on the yeah, I know that 5-pointed star. Don't get me started, dude. That was a 6-pointed star, though. Just clarify. Pretty sure that was 6, dude. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not a 5-pointed star. Just for the guys in chat.
On the map.
What, on the map? What are you talking about? What am I doing? Am I wrong? Anyway, not a 5-pointed star.
Even on the map.
Yeah, even on the map. All right, so the ZEBs is one of the most powerful transmitters in the world. It is in Tula Oblast, Russia, 82 hertz transmission. Okay. This is one of 2 facilities in the world that I know of that directly transmit ELF. Almost all of the other transmission stations, almost all, at least all the ones in this current category, ELF and VLF transmitters, there's only 2. ZEBs and the U.S. Navy ELF transmitter called Project Sanguine. I'm going to show it to you next. Those are the only 2 in the world that directly transmit ELF. And ELF is important because, yeah, that's my wife, man. Kelly's my rock. She's the legs under my table. I'd bite my arm off for her. I'd like, what was it? What was it? Like a lick of cops. Anyway, that's my girl. You know, that's my wife, 18 years, 2 kids, and she backs me up, still puts up with me. She's grinning over my shoulder as we speak. Love my wife, Kelly. Anyway, so this other one, let's get off of the Russian one because it's kind of hella boring to look at. It's just a tower, right? This next one, not so boring to look at. Now this is over in America. Why is my visual reference not showing up for this? Oh my god, I'm gonna get mad. Anyway, you see the highway here? That highway is the actual antenna. It goes all the way up here. Why is it not showing up? I know that I had it in there. And this is the other one. Ooh, that made me mad. I love it when I have a good error when I'm live on the air. Anyway, this is what the antenna looks like. Kind of boring looking. It's miles and miles and miles of this. That Billy Hayes. So this is the ELF transmitter. There's one at Republic, Michigan. Let's go back to the map and just show it right here. One is at Republic, Michigan. It's here. And the second part is over at Clam Lake, Wisconsin. One's shaped like a F, the other one's shaped like a plus. And they go for miles through the wilderness. So like you come up here and you look at it. We might be able to get a glance at this, but basically I put it on the station and you can see these trails cut through the trees are the antenna. They go way down here and they go way over here. So these trails are actually miles and miles of wire. This sucker puts out 1 megawatt. I mean, 1 watt, excuse me. Like, I think they put 3 million watts into it. Yes, 3 million watts go into this cable. It's like several miles long. And it's 20, it says the site has more than 28 miles of overhead signal transmission line. So, and this is the one at Clam Lake. 3 million watts goes into 28 miles of cable, and out of it comes like a 1 watt signal that can be heard anywhere in the world. It goes to the bottom of the ocean. It goes to the top of the tallest mountain. So that is an ELF signal that's so powerful that it transmits through water, bone, and stone. It's so bad that around Clam Lake, Wisconsin, and Republic, Michigan, this is collectively called Project Sanguine. There was something called the HUM, the Taos HUM, TAOS, HUM, like HUM. Locals were reporting feeling glowing feelings in their spines and hearing weird clicking noises in their sounds, sometimes referred to as tinnitus. They were feeling the hum of a 3 million watt electrified wire running through the damn woods, broadcasting worldwide. People locally got so pissed off about it that they actually jumped fences and multiple times cut the wires to the Clam Lake and Republic facilities. This is not talked about today, of course, but these facilities were the predecessor to HAARP. HAARP was then sold as, well, instead of us doing it this low-tech way where it takes miles and miles of wires, we're going to shrink it down and put it just on a platform and put, about the same amount of power. This one's 3 million watts. HAARP is 3.6 million watts. They just didn't have to run 28 miles of cable. They basically ran 28 miles of cable in a square that's about the size of a football field. It's in a tighter package, but it's still the same idea. Less brute force, more finesse. And they can tightly control its transmissions. ELF and VLF facilities, all of the ones that are in this category, the reason why they are not ionospheric heaters, they are non-directional, which means they transmit in every direction simultaneously. The same is true for the ZEVs. The same is true for these U.S. Navy facilities here, the Cutler VLF facility over here that I told. All of these red facilities, like the Loran-C network, the Gwen towers. Gwen is the Ground Wave Emergency Network. It was a series of ELF transmission systems. This one operates at 324 hertz at 300 kilowatts. Whom and what are they transmitting for? That's the question of the day. So these were a series of relay stations. Loran-C back in the day had these like links, and basically it would jump from one tower to the next. So they could send a signal in Washington. It would jump over, from here to here. It would make a hop up to Iceland, then over to here. And you can see they're like linked together. This is Loran-C transmitting station here, Loran-C here. Yeah, they were for submarine communications in the deep ocean. Sam, I am. Bravo to you, sir. So these networks would relay a signal around the world that was ELF because it could go to the bottom of the ocean. And that was the only way to tell the submarines purpose. Everybody wants a purpose here. They tell the submarines to surface. That's really what they do. Today, at least. I don't know what their exact purpose, probably relay information back in Cold War times, but they are repeaters, correct? It's a repeating station that goes all the way around the world. There's several different networks that I have up here at the top. Loran-C was the big one towards the end of its use. Most of these are still in operation. I know that to be true. And you can actually, ham radio operators can tell you all about these guys because they constantly screw up their stuff. Shout out to Pike County Scanner Master, my dog. Anyway, so these ELF and VLF transmitters are non-directional. They are high powered, and they can affect your nervous system. They are in the same frequency as your nervous system. That's why they are a concern to me personally. That's why I went to great pains and extents to map all this shit out. So in addition, they can be used probably for other things, but regardless, if it's high power and it can cook your nervous system, I want to know about it. I put it in the electro smog section called electromagnetic facilities on climateviewer.org. Please share it around. It only gets about 100 hits a day, guys. I know that may be hard for you to believe, but it's the truth. I could pop up my stat counter right now and make you cry. But all of this should not be wasted. I need to break out of this censorship box because this is the world's most extensive map on this subject. That's why I'm making the video today. It's going to be extra long. I'm going to talk a lot of shit, and I hope you guys will share it around. So we did ELF and VLF. I didn't even show you the really cool ones like Gem Creek or anything. But, you know, wherever you see these little black dots, go in there and zoom in because they usually look pretty cool. I'm going to do this one for my boy Billy Hayes because he actually worked there. Gem Creek. Ooh, I don't have 3D terrain on. This would be boring without 3D terrain on. Let's do it again. I'm going to go down here to the bottom of the screen and we're going to turn on 3D terrain. We're going totally 3D. Screw you, flat earthers. Boom. All right, let's see it now. Let's see it do it now. And what you see is this is actually in like a valley. This one's pretty cool. Oh no, they dropped below the surface. Anyway, so they actually lined both sides of these caverns. And for some reason, they didn't stick to the ground. My GeoJSON markers are screwing up. And when I put on 3D terrain, they don't stick to the ground, but the KMLs do. So we're gonna have to obviously do some cleaning up of that. But huh? Yeah, that's my contact just rolled out of my eye. Thank you, darling. Please go put that in some liquid. That's what happens when you're moving a thing, doing a live thing, and not blinking for a very long time. Yay! And also, while I'm down here, you can change the base map by clicking here and you know, make the world look really cool looking. So this is the world at night map, which actually lets you know where all the cities are and where they aren't. So if you really want to get lost and you want to get away from everything, go here. There is nothing there. There's no power there. Pretty cool. Anyway, base maps are fun. I just got a note from Bing in my email saying that I am over the limit. And pretty soon they're going to kick my ass off of the aerial imagery that I use to show you all these facilities if I don't start paying. So unfortunately, our free time watching Bing might be coming to a short close, so we'll probably be switching to this ESRI aerial map until they get mad at me also, but it does not come with labels, so you'll need to go click those on, and they are in the overlay base map section right here. So if that's coming soon, know that I'll be switching it to that right there. And it's because this shit is expensive and I need the donations. So thank you very much, guys. Back to the map, back up here. We're going to leave it on that one for now, just so we can say to hell with Bing, because it's going to be going soon anyway. So the next section is lasers and directed energy. This is personally the most fascinating part for me. Field McConnell of Able Danger. Hook me up, bro. My email is jim@climateviewer.com. If you can get my ass on Coast to Coast AM or any other cool place, or hook me up with somebody cool and you feel like doing that, please hook a brother up. jim@climateviewer.com is my email. All right. Lasers and directed energy. These are the most fascinating to me personally. Like the Starfire optical range. I need to get off of the darn tree. I got to turn the tree. Anyway, this is the Starfire optical range. And this is a cool facility. So you want to see laser beams? Now we're talking laser beams. Is this the firing hole? There we go. That's a laser beam. Boom. That's 3 laser beams. And what these are, this is a sodium laser. This is a LiDAR. No, that's the sodium laser. The red one's a sodium laser. I think this is the lithium laser, and that's the LiDAR. So these lasers are right here. The 3 of these are doing range finding. That's going, how far is this satellite from here? Hey, and should we blow it up? So basically, they're all 3 fixated on a satellite currently above in space, not in some kind of flat earth kind of projection fake space thing, like actual satellites up there, and they're trying to shoot it out the damn sky. Here's another one. Another thing, maybe they're shooting at an alien on a star on another planet. I don't know. But the sodium LiDAR, the sodium laser is the bad red hot mamma jamma, and that will blow your ass up. I know, right? Same I am. The house. Sodium lasers. This stuff gets me off right here. This is my most exciting map I got. It's got all kinds of crazy shit in it. All right, so let's go. Let's do this. All right, so at the top, we got that. The Starfire is at the top. GeoDSS, if you've never seen these, this is the Maui facility. It's on top of a mountain. Got a whole lot of crap going on here. And we're going to just go through just the GeoDSS. So there's 3 of these guys, wherever you find them. GeoDSS. And that's 1, there's 2, there's 3. And basically, these are range finding for military, the Air Force Satellite Control Network, AFSCN, something like that. Yeah. So GeoDSS is range finding on satellites around the world so that they can map them out. This is for what's called collectively the space fence. And the space fence tracks all satellites and all orbital debris, like the Project West for Needles we talked about earlier. Somebody sitting in an office is actually looking at a map in 3D of that space debris going every damn where. It's horrible. You know what? If I got a spare second, and if you guys can tolerate my yammer jammer in real quick, I will actually bring up the space map, because I used to, when I was on Google Earth, when I was on Google Earth, I actually had all of this. You could track every single object that the space fence tracked live on ClimateViewer 3D. It had all orbital debris and all satellites tracked in real time, provided by AGI. AGI is a company that I'm using right now for this map on ClimateViewer.org. It's a project called Cesium. And Cesium is at Cesium3D or cesiumjs.org. So AGI actually made this thing. Ooh, I don't know if we're going to be able to get this load. I better shut up for a second. Let's turn the screen share off for just a minute and see if I can get my redneck internet to download these satellites, or if it's just going to blow up my screen. I'm having a feeling it's going to be the latter, but regardless, check out Spacebook. I don't think it's going to load. I'll show you guys real quick what it briefly looks like when it's failing like a MFer. But there's Spacebook. It's a show off thing for Cesium, and it's got all of that stuff on there still. I'm going to be adding this back. I've actually written the code to pull the orbital tracking information. I think they're called TLEs or something like that. They're text files. I've mapped them, and I did get them working in ClimateViewer.org's code. I have not put it up on the website yet because I want to test it with some of my homies first. They're very large text files. Some of them are like 3 to 5, 10, 15 megabyte. So I need to figure out a way to cache them properly. But satellite tracking will be coming back to ClimateViewer 3D. Going to be epic. And GeoDSS does that satellite tracking. That's my point. And then if you go through the rest of these, there's a bunch of these from the International Laser Range Finding Service, ILRS. So those images are provided by the ILRS, and you can see that I've got each of these linked. And of course, they've changed their damn index. So go to their network, list of stations, and you'll see that this is where I got my source. I try to provide my sources for everything, because a source is a source. Of course, somebody doesn't provide a source, of course. And of course, they are a horse who needs to be kicked in their ass. I hate people who don't provide sources. My God. So this is from the ILRS. You can find their current listing. I'll probably update this map in the near future because it looks like they got some new laser beams on there. Ooh, and some of them have turned red. But as you can see, I went through and every single one of these, they went and found them on the actual map and put their photo in here and their FTP logs. You can see when they're actually operational. Those are probably out of date, but regardless, it's fun because they're lasers, damn it. All right, so I'm going to skip past the ILRS stuff and then go to the directed energy section. Directed Energy Weapon Test Site, North Oscura Peak. This is an actual laser blowing up drones. So what's going on here? White Sands Missile Range in New Mexico, north of Skura Peak, designed to blow shit up with high energy laser applications, run by the Air Force Research Lab Directed Energy section at Kirtland Air Force Base. Link right there. And a link to Kirtland Air Force Base's north of Skura Peak. Info. There's actually two of these guys. So right across the valley is the other one. Oh, no, that's the LBTS. That's not it. This is it right here. Got to be. Which one is it? That's a damn geodesic. Where is it? There's another one on the other side, and they shoot at it from both sides. It's kind of funny. Anyway, there's another lake. There it is. It's down here. There's the other one. Salinas Peak. So these are both at White Sands Missile Range. So they've got a valley here, and you can see that there's a huge mountain range and a big NSA facility down here. Creepy. Don't go to that NSA facility. There's a fucking laser weapon up there guarding it. Wow. See, and that's what connecting the dots is all about, and why it's important for you people to connect the dots at climateviewer.org. What is, I got a peek. What is that? That is the Aerospace Data Facility Southwest. Oh my God, that's down here. Neat. Hello, little NSA facility in the middle of a desert. Sidetracked like a mofo. Yes, ma'am. So these two laser weapon systems basically blast anything that comes through here. Also fascinating, the extended very long range array, something that you see in a whole lot of movies. Boy, that's old. Man, look at that, Kelly. The radiation database. That's what I originally called this. It was on resonated.com, REZN8D.com. If you've seen, that's what it looks like. This is the EVLA that you saw in the movie Contact and all kinds of movies. Also, right next to the laser installation. Pretty fascinating, right? And then right here, the Magdalena Ridge Observatory. Why are my pictures dead on this? So rude. Laser interferometer, and a couple missile defense radars. The Navspacer space fence itself. We're jumping categories. We're about to do the big ones last. We're going to do space-based radars. So down here, all right, so there's a bunch of lasers in here. Obviously, the laser at high pass I was telling you guys about earlier, that's got the liquid mercury mirror, which is so cool. Look at that. That is a 2.7 meter liquid mercury mirror. So it's actually a table filled with liquid mercury that they use to reflect that red sodium laser. Or no, LiDAR. That's a LiDAR there. Excuses. Fairbanks, Alaska, high-pass laser beams. And here's the Andoya rocket range laser beam that we were talking about with Tromso. And it looks like this. I don't know if that's the shot of the... That's just a rocket. That's not a laser. So sorry. Alomar Observatory. There's a whole bunch of these. Fire Pond Optical Facility. This is a fascinating one. Now, this is over on the MIT University. I believe it is. It's the Haystack University is right here. Millstone Hill, Massachusetts, Haystack Ultra Wideband Satellite Imaging Radar, HUSIR, I guess, HUSIR, is at the MIT Haystack Observatory. My memory did not fail me. Yay! So this is an X-band radar, and you can see it right here. And this is the one that they use in conjunction with the launches of the lithium rockets that everybody bitches about so much. When they're launching lithium from Wallops, they're listening to it at MIT University. And that is with this bad mamma jamma here. Whoa, 120-foot diameter antenna dish inside that golf ball, which is X-band. And that's how they can see the chemtrails coming from the sounding rockets at Wallops Air Force Base, or the Wallops Rocket Range. Let me close some of these out. Close that one out. There we go. We're back in unzoom. My goodness, that is messy. So that's the Haystack thing at the same university, at MIT University, which we just mentioned earlier. Sharing my beautiful HAARP article. Thank you, Dr. Rick Shankman, again. At that MIT University is a thing called the Fire Pond Optical Facility, and it's a laser installation as well. And it's right here. Fire Pond Optical Facility. Interesting. So MIT playing with lasers in the woods, along with a whole bunch of other large incoherent scatter radars, UHF antenna radars, and all that kind of stuff. This is the Millstone Hill Incoherent Scatter Radar. These are all in this section at the bottom. Other radars, observatories, telescope arrays, satellite communications. And I've got like an overlay section to go with it for my little polygons and stuff. But basically the bottom two sections right here, other radars, observatories, and telescope arrays, is where I put everything else. If I find it fascinating, I probably just stick it in that category. So these, I've been going through and finding like all of the space-based antennas that I can find. And if I haven't put it in the category yet, it goes in there till I decide where to put it best. Real quick break while I read the chat. Yeah, the X-band radar is very. Sam, I am in chat saying about the X-band radar being tight. There, the one that everybody talks about, the SBX. The SBX is a sea-based X-band radar, and I will not search in front of you, but I will type it over here. SBX boat. So the X-band radar is extremely sharp, and in the military terminology for this guy is called the ANTPY2 or ANTPY2. These are called THAAD, THAAD, Terminal High Altitude, failing, THAAD, THAAD radars, and they basically are, instead of trying to catch a missile when it's on the way down, they seek to destroy an intercontinental ballistic missile on the way up. So the X-band radar catches the missile as it's being launched and can track the hair on the side of that missile. It's so accurate that if this is a quote from a military general, that if they parked the SBX, which looks like this, if they parked the SBX off the coast of Washington, D.C., and somebody threw a baseball into space from Los Angeles, that they could not only track the ball all the way into space several hundred miles, they could track the spin of the baseball, the actual rotation of the baseball from 3,000 miles away in DC, a baseball into space from LA. That's an accurate ass X-band radar. And that's what's in the SBX, the C-band, X-band, the C-based X-band radar. And they're being deployed in all kind of other places. But when we said HAARP on a boat, we meant HAARP on a damn boat. Anyway, we won't get into that different frequency, big discussion. But we'll crack the SBX up another day, guys. So I think I've pretty much gone through the lasers. There's a whole bunch more down here that are just random ones, but this one's particularly fascinating. Let's go through just these ones right here. This is the Atlas Trestle EMP test facility. And what they've got is this huge wooden plank. And what they do is they set like a Huey or a helicopter, a new jet that they're going to, build and put into service. And they want to make sure that it has protection from electromagnetic pulse. So they set it on this big wooden frame monstrosity, and then they EMP the hell out of it. So this was also at Kirtland Air Force Base, one of the creepiest places in the world. And it's called Atlas Trestle. Very fascinating. My dad launched nuclear missiles, and he's been to this place. He never actually launched. Thank you for clarification, Kelly. I needed that. He didn't actually launch the nuclear missiles. He sat in a silo with a Minuteman III. He drove to Minuteman III from one silo to another one time, and could have turned a key during the Cuban Missile Crisis, but thank God he never had to. So that's that. The annular core research reactor is nearby that, and that's how they pump a whole lot of power over there. You can see it's there and there. And then right next to that is SPUR, the Sandia Pulse Reactor. This is a fascinating little spot right here. The Sandia Pulse Reactor, go look it up on YouTube. It's like a big, pool of water, and then they do a pulse of light through it, and it's like, more power than the whole damn U.S. would ever use in a year. They pulsed it in a second in there. And if they could ever make a sustainable anything that they could have unlimited yada yada power forever, look it up. It's fascinating stuff to me. It's science fiction, science fact going on right now. Un momento. Next up is the Large Blast Thermal Simulator. And this is in the middle of the desert. It's super creepy. And they blow shit up there. Built in 1994 to simulate both the air blast and thermal environments of a nuclear detonation. Pretty fascinating place. We won't go much further on that. Where is that Fermilab Kilometer? No. National Ignition Facility. Let's do that. Now, I've gotten a lot of people talking about this lately. Apparently, somebody made a video or something about this dot on a map that's been here for quite some time. But this is what it looks like on the inside. This National Ignition Facility is designed to basically put the power of the sun on a pinpoint. It basically is a very large capacitor, and I used to work on car stereos, and basically capacitors stiffen power. So when you need a spike of power, you need a big capacitor, and this is like the world's largest capacitor. And it basically can, create forces unseen anywhere else on the planet where they can melt shit down. But it's called the National Ignition Facility. It's at the near the end of the laser file. Pretty fascinating place, along with the Advanced Light Source, which is near it. Another big laser particle collider, we shall say. But it's at Lawrence Berkeley National Lab right there. Advanced Light Source. And this is what it looks like. Pretty creepy from the outside. All right, so we're going to go back up here to the let's say the CERN section. So a lot of people talk about CERN and the holometers, the colliders. So this is the Fermilab Kilometer. It is at what's one of the universities. Where the hell is this thing? I'm not going to even speculate because I'm not going to reread my stuff right now. Fermilab Kilometer is one. It is here, big ring, and that is in America. By the way, we are right here, right in Michigan. So big circle, just like CERN, over in America. The spallatial neutron source. Spallation. That's a weird ass word. Spallation neutron source is right here. Links and details on that. 1 giga electron volt proton energy level. Source will require 30 mega electron volts per neutron produced. That's a hell of a power bill. And over here we have the Large Hadron Collider. We are now over in Europe. That's there. Everybody knows that guy over at CERN. On to the next one. I'm not going to make a video about all these right now. I'm just showing you where they are. Relativistic Heavy Ion Collider. This is another one. It's over in America. And that is there. So CERN's not alone. That's all I'm saying. I started mapping these out. I was like, damn, there's a whole bunch of these. Gray Butte radar cross section. So this is a radar test facility. This is different. Moving along, we won't even do that, guy. Get out of here with your little ass. So finally, in this section that's important are what are called gravitational wave detectors. And that's the last thing in this laser section that I want to go through. Gravitational wave detectors actually got kind of important recently because they saw basically one of these guys saw 2 stars collide recently, and it made worldwide news as a first time thing. They detected gravitational waves from 2 stars colliding. So I thought they were kind of interesting, so I wanted to find them all worldwide. This one's called Virgo. It's a gravitational wave detector in, come on, help me out here. I'm going to put the damn Bing map back on so I can figure out where the hell I am, because this is getting annoying. All right, where are we? We are in Florence, Italy. No, that just flashed too quick. We are in Italy, though. Okay, so this one, Virgo, is in Italy. And then the next one, there's a couple of these, not too many. Clio, which I believe is in Japan. And this one's actually going to be built under a mountain. Pretty fascinating image to go with this. So this is just like the other gravitational wave detector, except it's underground in a mountain. Pretty fascinating. Wow. Science fiction, science fact, mapped out ClimateViewer.org. Completely unrelated to weather modification, but fascinating as hell to me. So anyway, that's called Clio, and or the LCGT. LCGT. Gotta love that. And the next one is the Geo 600. This is a little baby one. It's tiny. It's just a little baby. There it is. Look at your little ass. But yeah, that's another gravitational wave detector there. Geo 600. Located near Sarstedt, Germany. Beautiful. And the big one at Hanford Nuclear Site is called Ligo. And the sons of bitches covered it with a cloud. You gotta love that, right? Okay, so this is what I do when I have a cloud in my way. First, I zoom in real close and see if the cloud goes away. Cloud doesn't go away. Damn. I'm gonna go down here to the bottom. This is way too much open. I'm gonna close that. I'm gonna close that. Make it easier for me to get my butt down here. And I'm gonna flip to these guys and see if we can see it. We can see it. There it is. All right, so I flipped to the yes, all right, aerial instead, and now we can see it. This is the Ligo Hanford Nuclear Site. It is a gravitational wave detector. It works in conjunction with the other Ligo, which is not in Washington. It is down here. Summers. Like that? That it? No, that's the McDonald's. I better not start random clicking. We'll never find it. I was so close. Not. It's over here. So here's the other one. And this is the one, Ligo Livingston, that actually I think got the credit for the listening to the Star Wars thing. You know, the two stars blasting in each other. But you can see that's a very long, to scale right here. This is 1 kilometer, guys. You see a little scale up here at the top. That's a long line. That's a big guy, right? What they're doing in a gravitational wave detector is they are firing a laser from here to here, and then it's reflecting and coming back. And they're looking for any vibration in that light. And that's how they detect gravitational waves. So that's why they're long, they're straight, and they look like that. There's only 2 other ones left, Tama 300, and it is over here. It is on a university. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's tiny and insignificant to us. You go back, we throw you back. And finally, the AIGO down in Australia. It's right here. And that's the whole laser section. Don't hold me to it. I'll probably change it. So I've pretty much gone through these. The only thing left is the missile defense radar section, which is the big boys. And I'll go through those after a brief wetting of my whistle and a reminder that I would love to go to the Weather Mod Conference that's going to be in January. I really hope that you guys will share this around. It would be great to get this thing handled pretty quickly. Thank you to those who just donated. We really need to get this bar up there so that I can pay for myself and this Emmy Award-winning videographer named Jerry Day. He's going to go with me, and we're going to go there to the Weather Modification Conference, which is called the 21st Conference on Planned and Inadvertent Weather Modification. And we're going to ask them a lot of hard questions. We're going to demand transparency and verification, and I can only do it with your support, which is why I'm making all these damn videos right now instead of coding. So I'm going to remind everybody all the cool things I did over the next 2 months. I'm going to harass the hell out of you until we get there, because this is important. We're going to change the world, and I'm the guy to do it. I'm the realest guy in the room, as demonstrated by all my hard-ass work on ClimateViewer.org. I didn't even mention weathermodificationhistory.com or really go into any of my geoengineering weather modification research. This is just about places on a map today. So down in Australia, they have something called the Gendali Operational Radar Network. Here's where it's all coordinated. I even found the little headquarters. And this is their transmit site at Queensland. These are really large. Now these, what we're going to show you now, is bigger in most cases than HAARP. In most cases. Some of these are continuous wave. They're never, ever, ever turned off, period. That's why it's important, okay? So these are constantly microwave in the sky, and they actually can create changes in the ionosphere, which may be screwing with the climate. And while people talk about and focus solely on CO2, they are not focused on what Harry Wexler warned in 1962 before his untimely death, that sounding rockets and messing with the ionosphere can change weather on a worldwide basis. And that even the microwaves that they're using to look for missile defense and look for drug runners and look for whatever they want to say they're looking for, those also modify the ionosphere. They have untold effects. They should be accounted for, which is why I mapped them all out, and we'll go over them briefly as soon as I wet my whistle. Fly into a couple while I do that. All righty then. So, black dots, missile defense radars, green dots are the digisigns. Both work same way. Needed my drink. Thank you, honey. All right. So we're going to cut off all these other ones because they're a distraction now. Get rid of the ELF, VLF, the lasers, all the other stuff. We're going to just show the missile defense left and the digisigns. Now, this is how the world looks at nuclear missiles, period. This is the actual space fence. And I've still got the intelligence community on the map because all of this information goes to these big red eyes. That's how they're related. So this is signals intelligence. These are the signals intelligence guys. So they get delivered to places like the National Maritime Intelligence Center. So this is really, the space fence, the New World Order, really, it's called the Five Eyes. It's called Oz, Kanzuckus is what's up on the screen, or Australia, New Zealand, Canada, US, UK, the Five Eyes of the global signals intelligence community. And it's really called the Anglosphere, but whatever. These missile defense radars are extensive. They're everywhere. Some of these have photos up here on this one. There's like one or two. There's one. Damn, that was lucky. Oh, luck be a lady on my video. So this is what the North Warning System looks like. So basically there's this entire chain that goes all the way across the top of Canada. It's called the North Warning System, and it's radar systems every so often in a chain to watch for Russia or whoever shooting nukes over the horizon. Damn, I hate zooming. I need to zoom back out for it. Go back. All right. So as you can see, there's a very lengthy list of those, and they're properly spaced so that, if you ever need another update, there they are. I put my markers pretty darn close. It took forever to find these. Coordinates were lacking. Oh, look, another photo. Cape Perry, NT, established DEW main site in 1957. This is DEW, not like directed energy weapon. Don't go tripping, guys. This is called the North Warning System, or the DEW line, DEW line. And they called it the DEW line because damn it, do go on and on. I don't know. Regardless, they're big missile defense radars. These are the ones that cover America. Parks. This is continuous phased array radar. I mean, it can either be turned on in pulses. It can be, they can modulate these in multiple different ways. Most of these are over 2 million watts that I'm about to show you, the big ones. So over here we've got SBX. It was actually Google Earth. I found the SBX on the ground. It was in the bay, and then of course they moved it and they erased it from the bay, so it's no longer actually there in the satellite footage. I mean, it'd be a miracle if it was, but it used to be right here. And I put a little dot on it, and they promptly scrubbed it right off the damn map. Anyway, it was a rare opportunity to find a X-band radar on a boat. But these radars, they're everywhere. Some of them are called over the horizon radars, like OTH receivers and transmitters. These come in pairs. So here's the OTH receiver at Podson. Try that, Kelly. Coastal stationary over the horizon surface wave radar. Okay, it's 2 stations, one here, work in pairs. There's one side, there's the other side. OTH SW, surface wave. So it actually apparently shoots its radars right along the surface of the ocean so that it can get extended range when firing out here into the Gulf. So this is a Chinese radar, and it's looking at our radar. And our radar is right here. So over in North Korea, with this whole North Korea, South Korea, Japan popping off, this is where it really gets fascinating. So this is Taiwan's massive, mega powerful radar system is finally operational. I do believe this got deleted at one point and they put it back up, but yeah, it's called a PAVE pause radar. And this is our radar. That's the weird, 10-story green building, 10 stories tall, really big ass radar. And it took me forever to find it. I mean, because this was a hard one to find. Not, there it is. It sticks out like a sore thumb. They're huge. So yeah, this is what I do, man. It's kind of like Where's Waldo, except I'm better than all the reporters on the planet because they suck at their job. And I'm gonna actually find everything about it, put it all on one map, give it away for free, and let the internet have fun with it. And everybody looks at me like I'm crazy. Well, maybe I am, but it's damn it fun. Okay, it's fun finding your little radars on mountaintops, so I know all the inside scoop on how you guys are pointing your little radars at each other. Pew pew pew. Like freaking laser wars or whatever. You got everybody snooping on everybody, man. Everybody snooping on everybody. And then here's the other ones that China has set up over here. Like zero information on them, of course. I don't speak Chinese. I would love some information on that, by the way, if you guys could help a brother out. Here's a Chinese radar that looks like a HAARP, like a PAVE pause on a wall. EW radar 7010. Over here is the Swordfish Radar, which is pretty cool. This is in South Korea. Let me see this guy. Let's go down here. It's much funner to fly. And they probably moved it. Terrible imagery over on this side of the planet, by the way. It's right there, though. And they have scrubbed it. And this is another thing that's been happening a lot. In case you don't know what I mean by scrubbed it. Map data is becoming increasingly a threat to the military-industrial complex because places like, I won't do any names dropping right now, but there are websites that offer real-time video from space that I would love to put on ClimateViewer.org, where we can literally at any point go, I want to see what's going on anywhere in the world, and do that. It just costs money. So, I mean, one day in the future, guys, I have quit my job and devoted my life to trying to make this a business so that I can, do this for the rest of my life. And I hope that in the future, we can afford to put real-time video on this damn thing, because that'd be freaking amazing. And by the way, the government hates that idea. So with transparency, with new technology, it's coming to a point where there will be no secrets. I mean, you will literally be able to one day, and this will not be far off, mark my words, we'll be sitting here watching the news and they'll be like, there was a attack in Kyrgyzstan, and it was, you know, there's a standoff right now with the US Special Forces, and we'll be watching it on a real-time satellite, and some asshole will be like commenting in real time going, oh man, the Americans are moving forward, the Americans are moving forward, and then people will be like betting on who's going to win, because at the end of the day we'll be able to see everything anywhere anytime with these real-time satellites. Kind of creepy. Boy, why I got sidetracked with that. It's beautifully and fun. Lots of radars. I'm gonna let you guys dig through most of those. I'm about out of breath. Nostradamus, though, this is over in France. Pretty fascinating name to go with a cool looking radar. But it's on the end of an airport runway. It's very innocuous looking. You would have missed it if you weren't looking, like I was. But it's right here, dog. It's like yeah, it's so there. So if you don't see it, it's like this. There's a line here, one line here, one line here. And this is actually one of the most powerful radars in the world. Nostradamus, 288 bicone antenna elements, pretty crazy stuff. 6 to 30 megahertz, huge, can scan in 360 degrees. That's the unique thing about this. Most of the radars that are on the map are directional. In a direction, they microwave the sky that way. And Nostradamus apparently can microwave in all directions simultaneously. Pretty fascinating radar there. Up here is Globus or something like that. This is a big one. B-Muse at Philindang. I can never ever. Filingdales. Yeah. Fillingdales. I could do this all day. This is fun. Fillingdales. B-Muse Site 3. That is a big mamma jamma. And what they do is so that they can see in multiple directions at once, they just put a big old HAARP on this side, and they put a big old HAARP style, phased array antenna on the other side. They are similar to HAARP in that they are in these cases, thousands of tiny little antennas on the side of a brick wall, microwaving the sky 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You get the idea. So missile defense radars are kind of a pet peeve. I don't really like them. Here's all the new Russian ones. They look pretty damn cool. Russia's trying to be cool and stuff, but they're broke and trying to play big boys in the world of radars. But they've got these thing called the container. I mean, you got to understand all this is translated. So I'm not Russian, and that's a fact. But you can see the image here. This is called the container radar system. This is a Russian system that's just been rolled out over there. Very little information on it other than what you see on the screen. Those are the pictures. I'm sticking to it. And I want to show you the new Russian one. It looks like HAARP. I think it's over here. Let me zoom out. No. There's a really cool denesters. There they are. These things. Come on, you got to have a photo, right? There we go. That's a denester. So this is kind of like HAARP, but on a big like wing kind of thing. This is not the one I'm looking for, by the way. I'm just going to roll with it. They're just like the pay pause. They actually transmit from this side like this in one big, wave. So Russia's got them too. Everybody microwaving the sky 24/7. Man, I wanted to show you that cool one they got. They got a new one. It's blue. It looks really neat. That's Globus. That's an ANFPS 129. Also an X-band radar. This is one of the most important radars on the planet. So Globus 2 up there. And I think that the Russian one, I'm not going to find. Voronezh radar. There it is. Voronezh. That's what it's called. A Voronezh style. Looks like, got a picture. There it is. All right. So now this is some fascinating. This is the top of the line that Russia currently has for missile defense radars. It's called Voronezh. It's spelled up there on the thing, and you can of course see all these on ClimateViewer. I mapped out a couple of these. That's the blue one I was referring to in the photo, and you can see this looks exactly identical to the MUIR that is at HAARP. It is a metal thing with a little tiny little thing with a plus on top of it. It is identical to the modular UHF ionospheric radar at HAARP. MUIR or the AMISR, just bigger, I guess. Look at the wires in that son of a bitch. Good Lord. So these are the biggest radars in the world. They are all in the missile defense section. Missile defense radars. I put Star Wars on it because that's what Ronald Reagan was talking about, the Star Wars Strategic Defense Initiative. And I wanted to go through and map them all out. So there they are. I have officially covered all of the big radars in the world. Shake the thing, shake the thing. Guys, this is an epic video. I haven't done this in a while. Most people don't even know I did this shit, to be honest with you. I've been talking about chemtrails and geoengineering for quite some time. And that's it's unacceptable that I haven't got back over here to tell you guys all about the map, but I will be doing quite a few maps in the next year. I really need to go to this AMS conference and deliver a message on geoengineering and ionospheric heater technology and all this stuff that, you know, we as a group, we being the people who have looked up and said WTF, we don't like it. I mean, and the only way that we could ever protect ourselves from governments engaged in weather warfare is to at least know when it's happening to begin with. Because when a hurricane or tornado hits your house, it's not going to be funny. And you're going to want to know, was it God or was it the Air Force or was it Russia or was it China or was it climate change? Whoever it was, we would like to know. We like accountability in this world. And I think the only way to get accountability in the world of weather manipulation, geoengineering, climate intervention, whatever they want to call it, space weather modification, creating ion clouds in space, I don't give a damn what they call it. We want to know when it's happening, before it's happening, so that if something bad happens, we know who to blame. And the only way to get that is with something I call the Clarity Clause. And it's a law that's going to be an addendum to NMOD, which was a law in 1978 that banned weather warfare. So I talked all about that in this presentation right here, Geoengineering, Weather Modification, and Weaponizing Nature. Please watch it. And I want to deliver this message of transparency and verification to the actual geoengineers and scientists themselves. I have researched my ass off for 7 years. I have prepared for this. I didn't go to the last one 2 years ago because I was not ready for this. I am ready for this now. Now's the time. And I would greatly appreciate your help in helping me attend the 21st Conference on Planned and Inadvertent Weather Modification in Austin, Texas. With your help, I'm going to go there. I'm going to record the conversations. I'm going to be a gentleman about it. I'm just going to state our case with all of the factual references that I have packed in my brain. They are all memorized. I did not have to, prepare for this video. I sat my ass down and brought my map up. So I would love to go up there and be over prepared for this opportunity to deliver a message on behalf of so many people who are very concerned about people modifying the sky, making clouds, cooking the ionosphere, trying to punch holes in the sky, whatever, knock it off, or at the least, tell us when you're doing it so that if you hurt somebody, we know, because enough's enough. We're going to end secrecy. We're going to really open the door to a different kind of discussion, because for me personally, I'm sick and tired of seeing people on the internet who talk a good game but don't walk the walk. And I want to walk my ass right into that Austin Convention Center and tell them how we feel. So you're going to see it. It will be recorded. Please help me make it happen. And I'm going to continue to do videos like this until we hit that $10,000 mark, because it's important to me. And I know that it's important to you. So unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's not. Please share this video around. Please get the word out about this conference. If you can attend the conference, join me there. I would greatly appreciate it. but let's put all the eyes on the people who are doing it for once and for all. Thank you very much.